Hi, welcome to section 2.2, adding and subtracting decimals. First of all, before we can add or subtract, we just have to review quickly about rounding decimals. We covered it a little bit in the section 2.1, but I just want to make sure everyone's got a good grasp of this concept. To round a decimal to a given place value, look at the digit and the place to the right of that given place value. If the digit is less than 5, we are going to round down. If the digit is 5 or greater, we round up. It says to round 5.718 to the nearest hundredths. Our first step is look at the place value to the right of where you have to round to. And we're rounding to the hundredths. The 1 is in the hundredths place, so I need to look at the number to the right of the 1, which in this case is our 8. Step 2. Determine if the digit to the right is less than or greater than 5. The number to the right of the hundredths place is our 8. 8 is greater than 5, so I need to round up. Step 3, round a given place value up or down. 5.718 becomes 5.72 when rounded to the nearest hundredths. The 8 gets rounded, or the 8 gets rounded up, so the 1 becomes a 2. Okay, your turn. In this section, you're going to round to the nearest tenth, round to the nearest whole number, and I've got a hint there for you, and round to the nearest thousandths. If you're not sure where those place values are, please make sure you look at your handout that I included when I gave you the homework for this chapter. There was a section on place values. Okay, next, we're going to learn how to add decimals. In this case, we have a word problem. Jackie was a gold medal winner in her state track and field competition. The times for her runs were 56.03 seconds and 55.34 seconds. They want us to find out what was Jackie's total time. Step 1, we need to align the decimals. And by this, we take the decimals and we line them under each other so that they are lined up or aligned. We have the 0.03 and the 0.34, so the decimal is exactly right on top of each other. So that is our first step. Step 2, we bring the decimal down into our answer. Again, we keep it in the same spot it is up above the line. So we put our decimal below our answer in the same location. We want to make sure we keep all the decimals aligned. Step 3, the easy part. We add just like we normally would add numbers, whole numbers. We add 3 and 4 to be 7. 0 plus 3 is 3. The decimal place is already in our answer. We don't need to do anything there. We brought that down in step 2. 6 plus 5 gives us 11, so we have the 1 and we carry the 1. 5 plus 5 gives us 11. So our answer is 111.37. Let's practice. Remember, first we want to align the decimals. Then we bring the decimal down into our answer, and for our final step, we add the sum. 240.763 plus 2.092 gives us 242.855. Again, notice I aligned the decimals here. I brought it down into my answer, and then I added as I normally would. At this point, it is your turn. Again, please go through each of the steps that I did. Align your decimals. Bring the decimal down into your answer. and then add as you normally would. When you're done, please hit play again, and we're going to go on to subtracting decimals. Subtracting decimals. You know what the great part about this? It's the same steps as addition. We don't do anything different other than in step 3. In step 3 for addition, we added. Can you figure out what we have to do in step 3 here? You got it. Subtract. So step 1, we align the decimals. Have the decimals aligned right underneath each other. Step 2, I bring the decimal point down into my answer. And for a third and final step, I do the subtraction. 22.517 minus 3.622 becomes 18.895. Okay, this is somewhat similar to our previous section where we aligned the numbers to compare in order to see which one was greater than or less than. But in this case, we're adding or subtracting. So in addition and subtraction, you align the decimals, you bring the decimal down, and then you either add or subtract. Here's practice again. Remember, step 1, align the decimals. Step 2, bring down the decimal. And step 3, it says add, but step 3 is supposed to be subtract here. Okay. In our case, again, since I needed to hold a place value, I added a 0 just to help me out. Again, that's not something I require you to do, as long as you are familiar with it on how to do it. I'm not going to take off points if you did not add the place value. Again, step 3 on this page should be subtract and not add as I have. I apologize for that. In my haste to try to hurry things up and not have to recreate the slides, I just copied it and didn't really pay attention. So again, remember, step 1, align the decimals. Step 2, bring down the decimal. And step 3, add or subtract. Okay, your turn. And our last concept for this section, evaluating a variable expression with decimals. In this case, we have evaluate 6.7 plus r minus t. And then it tells us r equals 2.14 and t equals 5.2. Step 1, we substitute for r and t. 6.7 plus r minus t becomes 6.7 plus 2.14, because it tells us right up here r equals 2.14 minus 5.2. Again, they tell us t equals 5.2. Step 2, we add 6.7 plus 2.14. And the reason is I'm just following the order of operations. Going from left to right, my addition comes first, so I add. I align my decimals, bring my decimal down into my answer, and add. For step 3, I need to subtract. Again, that's the next step in our expression. 8.84, my total from step 2 when I added, minus t, which is 5.2, becomes 3.64. So again, the key point in this, all we're doing is replacing the variables with the values they give us, and then we follow our order of operations and our steps for adding and subtracting the decimals. Your turn. Evaluate m minus k plus 6.401 when k equals 5.874 and m equals 123.1. Follow the steps below. And I guess this is our last concept for the section. I forgot about estimation. Our front end estimation. We add front end digits, we estimate the sum of the remaining digits, and then add the results. Okay. So step 1. This can be confusing, so make sure if you're not sure, pause it or write down that you have a question when we meet tomorrow. Step 1. add the front end digits. The front end digits are the digits in red to the left of the decimal point. So in this case, we're going to add 8, 7, and 7 to get 22. So that's step 1. Step 2, we add the remaining digits, those to the right of the decimal place. So 0.79, again, I round up 5 or higher. 0.79 becomes $1 because again, I'm only looking to sum up to, in this case, to the whole number. 0.79 becomes 1. 0.29 is less than 5, so I would round it down to 0, so I don't include anything for that one. And 0.89, I round up to 1. So out of these three, 0.79, 0.29, and 0.89, when I round up, I get an additional $2. I then take, for step 3, the 22 from step 1, the 2 from step 2, add them together to get $24. So again, just to summarize, for front-end estimation, we add the front-end digits, those to the left of the decimal. We add those up first. In step 2, we estimate the sum of the remaining digits. And again, using our rounding technique, if it's 5 or higher, we round up. If it's 5 or less than 5, we round down. So in our case, we got 0.79. That's higher than 5. We round up to $1. 0.29 we don't do anything with because it's a 0. And 0.89 becomes $1. So our total there becomes 2. We add 22 and 2 to get 24 in step 3. And now it is your turn. Don't forget, make sure you show all your work and be ready to talk in our groups tomorrow.